Dallas, Rob, they had a 17-point lead.
Why don't you just say it, Chris?
With 5 minutes left in the third quarter against a team with a losing record, the Jacksonville Jaguars. And like the clown show we have said the Dallas Cowboys are, they choked it up, Rob, and end up losing 40-34 on a pick six in overtime. And Rob, this is why a month and a half, whatever it was ago, that when they lost to the Green Bay Packers, why I said the Dallas Cowboys, despite the fact that their ceiling is as high as any team in the NFC at least, they will not get to the Super Bowl. They will not win the NFC because they are liable to self-destruct at any given moment, and that's exactly what they did. Look, credit to Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars for a great rally and comeback, but Dallas gave them that game. When you're up 17 with 20 minutes of playing time left, you don't lose unless you give the game away. In most, especially when you're 10-3 and your opponent is 5-8. And so the Cowboys, Rob, this was just more proof of what you and I have said virtually all season. They will find a way to blow it.
And we said it. That's why I said you're burying the lead. They are who we thought they were. Even in success and things going well, we just figured that at some point there'll be those moments, those situations. Chris, you can talk about the Jaguars and what they did, and that's fine. Okay, they're playing too, and I get it. You can't have a 17-point lead. You're the Cowboys and blow that game. It's just ridiculous. Like This happens way too often. It is their brand. It really is, and that's why nobody can look at them and go, "Oh yeah, they're gonna get there." Wow, they got defense, they got running backs, they got a middle to top half, Chris, of the quarterback, right? They got everything. What? They got a coach who won a Super Bowl. What? They got an owner who'll spend gobs of money for everybody and anybody. What's missing? What's missing, Chris? Nothing on paper, right? Nothing on paper.
What's missing is a serious football team. And let me put it this way. A serious football program, a serious football franchise. That's what's missing. Their entertainment, their drama, their suspense, their big quotes and big headlines and big claims, and they feel themselves after every victory and, let's just make some news and make some money, and they do all that great. But when it comes down to meat and potatoes football, when it comes down to knocking somebody's block off, when it comes down to the substance, their little bit of style can't cut it.
Could OBJ help them yesterday, Chris? Maybe OBJ could have helped them lose that game.
I guess they signed him today, Rob.
Yeah, right. That would
be the Dallas Cowboys.
It would
be just like
OBJ.
them.
Yeah, that's what we need right now. How about stopping the Jaguars from running over you in the second half in a game you had well under control, Chris? Well under control, and they let it get away, just like we've seen them let games get away against bad teams. They were up big against the Packers. And running them over, Rob,
is the right phrase. Because the Jacksonville Jaguars rushed for 192 yards. 7 yards a carry. And it wasn't like, but, they can't stop the run, but they're great against the pass. No. Trevor Lawrence threw for 318 yards and 4 touchdowns.
Right.
They had him looking like Peyton Manning.
I had to rub my glasses. I wasn't sure who I was watching. Look, Chris.
Rob,
I did.
They are. I'm sorry. This is typical Cowboys. And I know, Jalen Hurts, and we'll get to this later. He has a sprained shoulder, as you heard Isaac Lowenkron say, and during the break, and he's likely to be out there thinking 2 weeks or so. So he would miss the big showdown on Christmas Eve. And so now you would think the Cowboys would win. You would think, but who knows?
Don't assume. Don't assume anything.
No, you're
don't
right.
assume.
If Jalen Hurts were healthy and playing, Rob, I would not be surprised if the Cowboys won that game. And that still wouldn't change my mind that they can't come out of the NFC.
But I also believe that if Jalen Hurts doesn't play, Chris, that they could lose that game. I believe
agree.
that.
I agree.
I really do. I think that we see it often where you think, oh, somebody's missing. Oh, that's going to, you'll be able to win that game. And it doesn't happen. It really doesn't. So these are the Cowboys. These are the Cowboys. And we said it a month ago when they were riding high after they scored those 90 points against the Vikings. Was it the Vikings, right? In that.
And Jeff Saturday's Colts, and we'll get to that.
Yes, we'll get to Chris.
I know you dying to get. You might trash talk him again.
I wrote a column today for Deadspin. Yeah, and you know what? And we will get to it. But where are all those voices, Chris, who endorsed them? Where are all those guys?
Look, that's going to be a fun segment. So we'll get to that. But Rob, here's the other thing about the Cowboys. I'm on the record as saying Jerry Jones has created a culture that is not conducive to winning it all. And I just mentioned a few things: the drama, the suspense, the loose lips sink ships, all that stuff.
All the hyperbole.
Right. But Rob, beyond that, they're getting worse. Remember that defense that we thought was all that? Remember when I said if Dak Prescott is what he's supposed to be, they'll at least get to the NFC title game because the defense is Super Bowl caliber? Pump the brakes.
Is that
Micah
a break?
Parsons.
Okay.
And I'm one. I'm going to admit it. I was one that put him in the same sentence, potentially, with Lawrence Taylor.
Please, can you take that back? You're going to take that back? I'm taking that.
Well, look, maybe in the future, but right now, no. He ain't playing nothing like Lawrence Taylor. And Rob, this team that was so sack happy earlier in the year has had one sack in its last 2 games. And the teams that they played, Houston had one of the worst offensive lines in the league. Jacksonville's a bottom 10 offensive line in the league. And you still couldn't get to the quarterback. Couldn't stop the run, couldn't stop the pass, couldn't get to the quarterback.
And Dak is turning the ball over like crazy, Chris. I saw a stat.
He's got 7 picks in the last 4 games.
Okay. That I saw that one.
Which is a league high. He's got 11 picks in 9 games. Rob, his career high for picks is 13 in 16 games.
Right, and he's got 11 already.
He got 11 in 9.
Right. And he missed some games, Chris.
By a mile in interception percentage.
And he missed games, right? He was hurt.
Right. I mean, I wonder, right? Because one thing about Dak, and I have said this, I've always said he was a game manager with playmaking ability. And what a game manager doesn't make mistakes for the most part, right? And
that's what they're in there for. That's the whole thing, is not to make a mistake. Just don't hurt the team. He
wasn't going to be like Aaron Rodgers, right? But he wasn't going to make the mistakes. And now, Rob, he's making them. And the last interception that ended the game wasn't his fault. I think Noah Brown, you're a professional receiver. You got to make that catch.
Right. But you know what? I agree that it wasn't like he threw it straight to the defender. I got that. But when you're prone, Chris, and you have this many turnovers, it's hard to just act like it. You know what I mean? Because he had one earlier in the game.
Right.
And he had another
evens out.
Right. So that's the problem with it. You know what? They still count against your record. There's ones you threw that the guy didn't catch or whatever, Chris. And
you got touchdowns that were bad throws.
Exactly.
Dropped interceptions, no doubt. This is what I wonder, and we're about to get to the callers, Rob. is Dak trying to like live up to the hype?
Or the
You know what I mean?
contract. Yep.
Like, yeah, the contract, all this notion that he was going to throw for 6,000 yards and, you know, that he is a $40 million man and he's a top 10 quarterback, rather than just going out and being, because he was what, 4th round pick, coming in for Tony Romo. Nobody expected much.
Came
That's
from
when he was
nowhere.
doing
Came
what
out of
he
nowhere,
does.
Chris. Out of nowhere.
Right. And now is he trying to live up to the hype?